Fewer things could have made me prouder than how the whole medical community has come together over the last few weeks during the course of this unprecedented pandemic situation. There is, however, one recurrent story that I keep hearing that makes me sad and also a little bit angry. Nothing could be more tragic than sickness, death, and dying, and that is why I'm astounded when I hear stories about medical facilities that are not allowing relatives to visit the hospital even when the patient is at a very terminal stage. The hospitals where I work, if a patient is what we call comfort care or at a very imminent stage of passing, we always allow relatives in, 2 at a time. They have to be gloved, gowned, and masked, but they can absolutely come in and be with their loved one at this time. We don't need to be unnecessarily strict with time. We don't need to restrict them to only 15 minutes. If they want to stay for an hour, say their final goodbye, then they absolutely can do that. We must never forget compassion at this horrible time. Whether a patient is COVID or non-COVID, relatives should absolutely be able to come into hospital even though they can't in other circumstances. If there are hospitals anywhere in the world which are being unnecessarily strict with this policy, it is unconscionable. You have to be careful where you get your news from these days, but when I've heard stories about relatives who've been devastated when their loved one has passed away alone, assuming that death wasn't sudden, that should never happen. If you know of hospitals that are being very harsh with this policy, please contact me.